Hey, what's up, everybody? Peek out here in Singapore, and I am back again with another one of my Summit sisters. I am so excited to present Dawn to you. She's part of an organization that she's heading up called My Sister's Keeper. Now, her particular, hey, August, her business is all about giving people a voice and helping them heard so that they can do what they've been longing to do all this time. Hey, August, so glad you're driving and listening. I really appreciate that. So, without further ado, this is Dawn. Hey, Dawn, how are you?
Hey, Pika!
How are you? I'm so excited. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm really excited. I was just telling everybody that you are the founder of My Sister's Keeper, and you're based out of Atlanta, correct?
Correct, we are.
Very cool. I love it. So you've been so kind to me. We've been talking a lot over the last couple of weeks in the process of actually getting this whole summit together. And I know a little bit about you, but not all about you. So I would love it if you wouldn't mind sharing yourself as well. Just a little bit about how you got started with this particular business and the fact that you're helping all these women. It really helps me because I haven't had a chance to tell my story until I actually got to sit down and speak to you.
Oh, wow, Pika.
Yeah. So I've had this story okay, for those of you who don't know, because I don't really, openly share it, but I did have an unfortunate situation that I lived through, which happens to be sexual abuse. So I've grappled with that a little bit for quite some time. And when I first met Dawn, I wasn't sure what to expect. And I asked to join a private group of hers. And she checked with me, like she should. She checked with me to verify that, I indeed had been through something. And she gave me a platform from which I could actually speak and share. And it was the first time I've actually ever written it down. It took me a really long time to do that, but I really thank you for that because it's real, and I wish it wasn't. But once you write it out, it kind of something happens. You kind of like let go a little bit more.
Yes, yes, very good. I'm glad I was able to assist you with,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, putting that pen to paper and being able to stand in your truth and talk
Yeah.
about your experience with sexual assault. You are a brave woman, Pika.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm
Yes,
originally from
please.
Chicago.
Okay.
And that's where my sexual assault took place. We lived in several homes in the Chicagoland area, and it appeared or it seemed to me that every place we moved to, I thought that the abuse would stop. Unfortunately, it continued, and it only got progressively worse, as I got older.
Oh,
Um, I'll fast forward a bit. It started with fondling at 3. Um, excuse me. It started
that's
with
okay.
fondling at 3, oral sex at 4, and penetration at 5. And like I said, it got progressively worse throughout the years. Did I know something was wrong? Many years, no, I didn't, because it was a way of life for me. It was a sense of normalcy. That's
Yeah.
all I knew. And I thought that, it was what I was supposed to do as a child. And, in some aspects, I look at it as though I was kind of like earning my keep or,
Oh,
you know, un- unfortunately, that's the mindset that some of us go through.
yeah.
Nothing in life is free. My mother has instilled that in us for years. Nothing in life
Yeah.
is free. So in my mind, that's what I was supposed to do. Um, in my teenage years, I was very promiscuous. I thought it was, common practice for girls to want to give it away.
Yeah.
Um, that was my way in my intelligent mindset of maintaining control. No longer would I allow someone to take it from me, so I would give it
Right.
away.
Right.
Yeah, and most guys didn't want that because they saw me differently.
Yes.
I got pregnant at 16. I lost the baby, but
Oh,
I
I'm sorry.
remember having this sarcastic mouth when I'll give him a name. His name was Willie. He asked me, "Hey, what's the guy's name and phone number? Because we need to go and talk to his parents." And I'm thinking, talk to his parents for what? So I asked him, why do you want to talk to his parents? And he said, because we need his parents to understand what he's done and that he has to take care of this baby. And I said to myself, what makes you think this baby isn't yours? I didn't
Oh.
I didn't say it out
Uh-huh.
loud. I was
Hmm.
thinking it. And, you know, I had that edginess, and I've always had that edginess to myself. But, you know, I think I would have been in big trouble had I have, you know,
If
said
you
that
had said
out
it out
loud.
loud, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything to my mother, although it was on the tip of my tongue. But I didn't say anything because he had threatened us. You know, he threatened me, you know, I'll kill all of you all if you say anything, or they'll take you off from this home and they'll ship you off to another home and someone will do worse things to you. And you know what? I kept that in the back of my mind, thinking, okay, I know this guy. I know what he's gonna do to me. I know what's to be expected. You know, I don't feel his manhood in me anymore because I had, you know, my body had developed to his manhood. So it didn't hurt anymore. So what if I, you know, am taken from the home and moved to in foster care, and
A
then
known
so
devil.
yeah, so I have to go through this process again. So I stayed with what was familiar. So I never told until I was 18 years old.
Wow.
And when I told my mother, just like she said, just like he told me, she's not going to believe you. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, my mother, she'll believe me, she'll believe me, but she didn't. You know, her questions were filled with doubt, and I could hear the doubt in her. Well, if it happened, when? So when she asked that question, it just paved the way for me to just like be very transparent. Well, it started when I was 3, and I started telling her how it happened and where she was and where we were, and you know, she still didn't believe me. So, you know, that kind of made me look at my mother so differently from that point.
Yeah.
Although I never cut her off, because I looked at my mother and we kept that relationship because I knew my mother was sick. How could I expect my mother, who was being verbally, physically, and emotionally abused, to help me from experiencing sexual abuse at the hands of her man? So that's why I was able to maintain that relationship with my mother. If she couldn't help herself, how could she help us, or how could she rescue me? You
Right.
know, so I've been in 2 serious relationships in my adult life, both in marriage. And the very first one was very dysfunctional. He was actually responsible for me telling what happened to me. It was his encouragement telling me, you know, you got to tell this, you got to tell this. So I
Okay.
did. And I felt, again, indebted to him.
Hmm.
You know, he helped me. I'm going to help him. But in
Right. I
me
will stay and be loyal.
right, in my helping him, I didn't see that he was dealing with his own demons. You know, he was abusive of drugs and alcohol, and he was a cheater. I saw the signs, but I didn't want to deal with them. I'm like, oh, things will get better
Because you
next week.
knew what to expect in this one too.
Absolutely. So that marriage was wrapped around sex. I stayed with him because of sex. Did I love him? Yeah, in the beginning, but years later, no, that love dissipated, and I stayed in the marriage because of my children. I didn't want any other men over my children because I know if there's
Yes.
another man over your children, what's likely to happen? That's what my intelligent mind kept telling myself. So I said, I can't do this anymore. So I got out of that marriage and right into another. Who would have thought that I would marry a man who's old enough to be my father? But he's good to me. He's really good to me. We have our challenges, you know, just like every other marriage, but
Right.
hey, it's much better than the first.
Okay.
So, in starting my Sisters Keepers of Atlanta, this organization was birthed out of my experience of talking with women and sharing my story and telling them, hey, my name is Dawn Peak. I'm a sexual assault survivor. And, you know, women looking at me like, say what? I'm very
Yeah.
transparent. But
Right.
what that does in my transparency, it paves the way and opens up the door for other women to say, hey, it happened to me too. And they'll whisper, Dawn, it happened to me, Dawn. And I look at her and, you know, I just embrace her. I
Right.
just embrace her. Women in their 50s, Dawn, I've never shared this with anyone. This is my first
Yeah.
time about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, most of us can't keep a secret for 5 minutes, let alone for 20 years.
Especially something this big. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Can you imagine Well, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
other women who haven't experienced this, can you imagine suppressing that? Those demons with whom, are killing you on the inside. You're suffering in silence, but you're living out loud. No, you're not living. You're not living at all if you can't speak of your experience with sexual trauma. And I'm the one who is changing the face of what sexual assault looks like. I'm giving women permission to tell your story, stand in your truth, because it makes way for healing. It really does. I feel good about the work that I do. So back to why I started this organization,
Yes.
because, there's a place for everybody to go. When you're sick,
Yeah.
you go to the doctor. When you abuse drugs, you go to NA. When you abuse
Yeah.
alcohol, you go to AA. When you
Yeah.
are a sex offender, the state even looks out for them.
Yeah.
Although register as a sex offender, the state still looks out for them. They
Yeah.
mandate them to stay in the house on Halloween and so they don't reoffend. However, if you've been victimized by sexual assault, there's no place for us to go, no healthy place. There are places like depression, overeating,
For the
promiscuity.
symptoms.
Yes, we're covering up. We're using these coping mechanisms, and most of them are negative coping mechanisms. And what it does, it makes us, fall behind. We can't live. We can't communicate. We don't know how to articulate our feelings. We enter into these relationships where we don't use our voices because we're afraid of using our voices, because we're afraid of what will happen to us. But no more. No,
No.
absolutely not. Baby, it's 2019 and it's time for us to rise and shine and move from behind the shadows of our past, because guess what? That does not define us.
No,
Hence
it doesn't.
her story. That's why her story was created, because we need a place too. We need a place where we could go and be vulnerable and
Yeah.
love on one another and tell each other, darling, you matter and your past does not define you. You're better than that. You look good. You're beautiful. Affirming one another. You just
Yes.
don't know how beautiful that is, and how much pouring into another woman lifts her spirits. And I love to see a woman come in who can barely make eye contact with you. And then after she's
Yes.
had her experience of sharing her story, her head is held high,
Yep.
those shoulders
Hmm.
are back. She has a smile on her face. That's how I know I'm doing good work. When people
Absolutely.
will tell me, I've never shared this until Dawn, you helped me do this, we're doing good work. We're doing good work.
Absolutely. And you know
Doing
what? More than a physical place, you've also created that space online for there to be
absolutely.
a quiet, peaceful, accepting environment for people to come out and say stuff. And I'm very open. I mean, normally I have no problem sharing this stuff, but there are some aspects to my story where I can't share it out loud in public yet, but I am so grateful for you. I really
Oh,
am. And I'm telling you, it took me days. I don't know how many times I started that story. And finally I got so mad I just started writing.
yes. You let that anger lead you. You let that
Yeah.
frustration lead you. And you put that pen to the paper or those fingertips to the keyboard and
Yes.
you let it out. And that's what I did. On the online group, any task or assignments or homework that I give to the ladies, I do them myself, because I want to be
And I
that
see
living,
that.
breathing, walking example of, hey, I know what you've experienced. I've been through it too. Let me give you the necessary tools and resources so that you can be successful as well. And I have so many people say, Dawn, you're so confident. Or I've even been told, oh, Dawn, you're so arrogant. No, 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 baby. It's not arrogance. It's,
Uh-uh.
it's confidence. I'm
Yes.
totally confident in who I am as a woman, who I am as a leader, and who I am and mean to this world. There are people who need dawns, other dawns.
Yes.
Guess what? We all have it within us.
Yes.
We all have that mindset to serve. It's what you do with it. I love serving my sisters. Doesn't matter where you come from, where you live, what your background is, what your future plans are. I love being of service because I know that the work that I'm doing right now is paving the way for her to do the same for someone else. And I'll tell you
Exactly.
this, when I was being molested, I, I, I survived because I died. Each
What do you
time
mean by that?
each time he laid his heavy body on top of me, and my body had grown accustomed to his manhood, so it didn't hurt anymore, I died. I mentally escaped. I was somewhere else. He had the physical, he had the emotions, because he told me, trigger alert, he told me when to moan, how to move, what to do, when to do it, what to say to him, how to please him. So I was guided by his instructions. But in most cases, I was not there. I was somewhere else. I was thinking about, oh, what arts and crafts I can do, what I'm wearing to school tomorrow, how we're going to have parties this weekend, what I'm going to do in my sports events. So he didn't have my mentality. I refused to give him my mind. Once they have your physical, your emotions, and they get your mind, then they have you. I
Yeah.
refuse to succumb to that. That's why I survived. And during my survival period, I made a vow with God. I said, God, if you allow me to live through this, I promise when I get older and I'm mentally stable, I'm going to reach back and I'm going to help rescue children. I'm going to help women. I'm going to help teenagers survive this. If I can prevent it from happening, yay. But most of the work that I'm doing is post-traumatic
Yes.
experience with sexual assault. And that's okay too, because what it does, it gives women a glimmer of hope,
Yes.
hope that you too shall live. You too shall die. Those suicidal thoughts, we want to suppress those to the point where they no longer exist.
Yeah.
I was there too. And I just think about if I had carried out those suicidal thoughts, Pika, I wouldn't be here to have this interview with you this
No,
morning.
you wouldn't. You wouldn't. And you know what? I think I need to, if you don't mind, I'm going to go back a little bit with some of the things you said because y'all know usually I'm not this quiet, but this hits home for me. It really hits home. So I need people to understand, look, the demographic, the statistics on women who have been through this trauma,
Mhm.
it's not good. It's 1 in 4, correct?
Yeah, and
One in four of us.
but that's reported. My case wasn't
Yeah.
reported, so I'm not included
Mine
on
was
that.
not reported. And
And then
unfortunately, part of the reason I can't say his name is because he's still a part of my life.
and that's okay. But look at what you're doing now. You're facing it head on. You're not running from it. And that's what we cannot do. We cannot run from it because if we don't deal with it early in life, guess what? We see it developed in our lives later on. So we
Yeah.
act out, we're angry, and I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this, the ABW syndrome, which is the angry black woman. I don't want to be the angry black woman because of my past. I'm going to be
Exactly.
angry about what's happening to me right now, the
Right.
injustices that our society does to us. In most cases, we're victimized not once, but several times.
Yes.
Once by the actual act. Secondly, we're not believed when we disclose the sexual assault. And then third,
Yeah.
by society, because everybody wants to know, well,
To
what
come
would
out
you
loud and say it,
yeah
you have
yeah
this question about, well, did you egg him on? Did you lead him on? What did you
yeah
do?
how dare you blame me for something someone else did? I was a child. All my innocence was taken away from me. I didn't, most kids develop an identity younger in life. However, I didn't. I had to create an identity for myself. I'll share this funny story with you. I have a very dear best friend who often called me Sybil, and we
Okay.
would laugh about it. Sybil is known to be this woman who had these multiple personalities, and I used
Okay.
to laugh along with it,
Mm.
because I did have multiple personalities. I'll tell you this much. I told her, I said, you know what, you're laughing, but you're right. And she kept laughing. But when you call me Sybil, And when you look at me and you laugh at me, you're laughing at yourself. And she stopped. And
Okay.
she was like, what do you mean? And I said, I am you. You are me. She still didn't get it.
There is
I
no
said,
separation.
right. I said, this is what happened. When I was younger, I did everything I could do in my intelligent mind so that you guys didn't know what I was going through because I wanted to appear to be normal. So
Yeah.
I took a little bit of what you did. I took a little bit of
Yep.
what she did, what she did, what she did. And I took my girlfriends and I put it together.
The best
And I
of all of
did,
them. Hmm.
yes, I created an identity for myself. So if you really want to know who Dawn is, my name is Latrice Angie Carmen and Dawn. So yes, I am Sybil. And she
Nice.
got it. She got it then. But see,
Okay.
I got the best end of it because all of my girlfriends are good girls. All of
Okay.
them are good. They're loving, they're supportive, they're career women, they're family oriented. So I got the best. I got the best of everything. I even am doing better than my offender. Did you think I
Good.
wouldn't?
Of course. You have that drive. You got that spark in you. And you said something about, people think you're arrogant, and I don't think they understand. You know how much you had to claw through to get to a place where you could hold your head high and maybe look down your nose at somebody? And you don't, but you could.
Right. I just love people. And I'm
I know you do.
always rooting for the underdog because it is those people who can't, don't, or won't fight for themselves. I'm ready to put on those boxing gloves and I'm ready to fight for them because we all need to know that we have somebody who's in the background working for us and who's in the forefront working for us. And I'll
Yep.
stand in line and tell society, how dare you make us feel guilty for somebody else's action?
Yeah.
And I refuse to allow anybody else's child to experience what I experienced. Not on my watch.
Yep.
Pedophile perpetrators, predators. Oh, we're watching. You'll get caught. You think you're slick. You'll get caught. And I guarantee you, when you get caught, the same thing will happen to you. And I don't get how people say, oh, well, he was molested, he or she was molested when they were a child. Is that an excuse?
He's had a
How can
lifetime to figure out what is okay and what's not okay. Come on.
absolutely. So they say most offenders were sexually assaulted themselves. Some because I was sexually assaulted and I never reoffended.
I'm not about to pay that forward. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. I like that. I like that because people need to understand the damage and the destruction that sexual assault causes. Most of us, darling, were hashtag touched way too soon. We didn't have the ability to give our permission to someone to say, yeah, yes, we can go to this next level.
Yeah.
Most of us were forced into that. Why? I don't know. But I'll be damned if I allow it to keep happening and watching my sisters, being unable to hold their own
Yeah.
in a conference room, in the workplace, in their home, out in public. I'm always going to affirm my sisters. We deserve the best. And
Absolutely.
every encounter that I have with someone, I give of myself. And I constantly give. My husband once told me, you know what, Dawn, I see what's going on with you. You just have so much love in you that you just
Yes,
give, give,
ma'am, you
give, give.
do.
And I can do that. You know why? Because my creator keeps replenishing me. Every time I give, he gives me double. So
I
that's how
love,
I keep going. I just want to give it away. And it's fun for me.
I love that. And I believe that too. You just give it away and you let it find you back later. Because when you
Woo!
serve someone else somewhere out there in the community, in the universe, it will find you when you need it most. You will
Yes,
not
yes.
ask for wherever you give it, does not come back from that same source. It comes from somewhere
Mm,
else. I totally believe that.
yes, yes. Oh, Pika.
I love you so much. I am my sister's keeper. I do love your movement. I feel I feel like if somebody had told me back when I was going through this that this was wrong and I was allowed to speak up, I maybe
Hmm.
may have healed a little bit faster. I
Yes.
maybe may have walked out of it a little bit faster. I may have named him.
Hmm.
Thank you so much, Imani and August, and I know Camille's on here too. Imani says yes, and I think how do we make sure to protect our children? I know now as a mom why I didn't do sleepovers. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
I am so protective of my child, and people make fun of me. They're like, "What? Have you not cut the umbilical cord?" No, I haven't. I am not comfortable to cut the umbilical cord yet. Okay,
And it's
this placenta
okay.
works. Yes, and
It's okay.
I don't know what I would do. I would go out of my mind, Dawn, if anything happened to my daughter.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you how this happens. You know, and not to say that all women have low self-esteem, but we're searching for something.
Yeah,
And in most cases, what we're searching for is something from our past. You know, our past never escapes us. We just have to deal with it. And
yeah.
how we deal with it determines what our future looks like. So some
Hmm.
women will go out to the club, will, want to make ourselves feel better. So we'll go out to the club or go somewhere, and the first guy who winks at us, buys us a drinks, or asks us to dance, he ends up coming home with us.
Hmm.
And we invite these monsters, because that's exactly what they are. We invite these monsters in our homes. We give them full access to everything. Some of
Yeah.
our most cherished gifts are babies. And you know what happens? Sometimes those monsters never leave. And then when we have to go to work, we'll ask this monster to watch our children. We'll leave them
Yeah.
alone, give them full access to our babies. We stay gone with our girlfriends, and they're home alone with our children. Our children's innocence is disturbed. Our children's rest is disturbed. Our children's mindset and mentality is disturbed. Our children are not safe sometimes in their own homes. And then when that monster asks us for our PIN number or our credit card, are you kidding me? Absolutely not. But baby, you just you opened up your home to this monster.
Your most precious
Yes,
treasures.
your precious treasures. We have to change how we do business in our own homes, because we run our homes like a business, right?
We do.
So like the employer has security and cameras to protect us, mamas, that's what we have to do as well. We have to watch our children just like a banker monitors our checking accounts. We have to make sure that everything is in order. I'll tell you this. Um, when my husband and I moved in together, I have one daughter and two sons. So it was just the three of us who finally lived in the home together. And I was on such eggshells. I was walking on eggshells. If he would leave the room, I would turn the TV down. Call out my daughter's name, Brittany. Yeah.
Come in here so I can see you.
Yeah, not just that, but I wanted to hear where her sound of her voice was coming,
Yes.
making sure I'm not in the same room with my husband. Why did I do that? Why was I subjecting not only my daughter to that, but my husband and myself? Who wants to live like that? So, you know what? I don't believe in that don't ask, don't tell mentality. Not on my watch. I'm going to ask, because guess what? Kids want to tell. They're just
Yeah,
waiting
they
for
do.
us.
They
And I
want to
used
know
to
it's okay.
Yes, I've asked my daughter, has he ever said anything inappropriate to you? Has he ever touched you? She was, no, no. And I asked, if he did, would you tell me? She was like, Ma, yeah, yeah. I want my daughter to know that I'm her biggest cheerleader, and I'm going to make
Absolutely.
sure that she does not experience what I experienced, because, it's a different beast, than, I don't care if you were touched once or multiple times. An assault is an assault is an assault.
It
I don't
sits
care.
on your mind for a long time afterwards.
Absolutely, because you start to question your identity. You start questioning, why were you born? You start questioning, why me? Why not somebody else? You start questioning, why isn't someone helping me? You question what, there's too many questions going on and not enough
Exactly.
answers. Not enough answers.
I mean, to put it very bluntly, if you were robbed in your home, if you happened to be home when the robbers were there, you would never feel safe going to your house by yourself again. And the same thing goes with innocence. It's almost like you don't feel right in your body. You are afraid for people to see you because that one person saw you that way and took advantage. It is a very difficult thing to live through.
Yes, yeah. And you know, in my intelligent mind, my coping mechanism was food. Never
Okay.
talked back, never, you know, done me wrong, and it always made me feel
It was
good because
always there when you needed it.
yeah, I'm the self-proclaimed sweet treat queen. I love baked goods, cookies, pies, donuts, anything with. I used to say I can smell vanilla extract and butter and sugar from a mile away.
And see, I
But
was the opposite. For me, I starved myself. It wasn't really starving, but I didn't feel like I deserved to eat. I didn't
oh,
feel like I should. It wasn't, it didn't feel good. I felt like I was indulging something I shouldn't.
mm, and my coping mechanism was I would eat. And I used to, in my intelligent mind, thought, oh, I've never seen a plus size woman
Oh,
kidnapped
okay.
and raped.
Yeah.
So if I gain this weight, they won't touch me.
The
Men
sense
won't
of
find me.
safety.
Absolutely. That's what I told myself in my intelligent mind. If you're a big girl, you might be cute in the face and everything, but if you're big, they won't bother you. That is so far from the truth. So far from the truth. And I've always had this label on my forehead that said old man magnet. Old men were always attracted to me. And I'm like, do they know my past? Do they know that this man who was, 30 years old and here I am, 3, 4, 5, 6, do they know what happened to me? Can they smell it? Did someone tell them about my past? Those are all the questions that I ask myself. How is it that I'm always attracting older men? The good part about it is that I married one, and he's good to me. He's
I'm
good
glad.
to me, and he's
You
good for me.
deserve the world.
And you know what, Pika, all of us do. All of us deserve to be loved, and we have so much love to give. And it should be reciprocal love, not controlling love, not love that you're just doing it because it's a chore. No.
Oh, yeah.
No, no, no. We deserve better than that. And we shall have exactly what we deserve. We'll get there.
You
One
will.
life at a time. One life, one story, and we all make the same sound. Hashtag one voice, one sound. Hashtag freedom feels so good.
Yes, it
Hashtag
does.
you are so beautiful, Pika.
Thank you
Hashtag
so much.
stand in your truth.
Amen.
Hashtag I am my sister's keeper.
I am my sister's keeper. Now, ladies, gentlemen, everyone out there joining us tonight, I want you to understand this summit, we got a lot of women out here. And in this summit, we have souls just like Dawn who just want to serve. We want to speak life into you. We want to show you that there is another way. We want to show you we've lived through it and we're teaching you based on what we've learned. All the tools that you've given out, that the assignments that you do yourself because you like to lead by example, it's the same thing that I do, the same thing that August does, Camille, Imani, everybody. We speak in our truths because it took us a while to get there. It wasn't handed to us. It is not silver spooned. We earned these stripes. We earned these scars. And because we earned these scars, we know what we're doing works. And we want to share it with you.
Yes, yes. And the support group, we have an online group, which is a closed group, and I am dedicated to maintaining the integrity of the group and
Yes,
making
ma'am.
sure everyone's anonymity is of 100% of importance to women because you have women who don't want people to know.
Yeah.
But in that safe space, in our house, because that's what that group is, that's our house. We get
Yes,
to
it
be
is.
free, be whomever, whatever we want to be, say whatever we want to say. Because for far too long in our past, we were told to keep our mouths closed.
Exactly.
Shh, shh, remain silent. But in that house, the only house rule that I really have is that what goes on in this house stays in this house. That's the only
But
time
that's for a good reason.
that's the only time that I approve of hearing that. You know,
Yeah.
don't share what someone else shares here because you don't want the world to know.
No.
I don't care. I'll stand on the top of a building and share. But other women aren't where
Not
I am.
everyone's ready. Yep.
Absolutely. And I understand that. And in due time, they too will be able to stand up and say, for I am my sister's keeper as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's with, you know, funding and donations in kind that will allow us to help move our vision and our mission forward and keep helping women because they're
Yeah.
coming. They're coming, Pika, and the group is growing, and you know the physical meetings, they're growing, and women, they want help. It's
They
2019.
do.
We're no longer just, you know, if you're a housewife, this is no dig on you because, you know, some of us, we can do that. Some of us can afford to do that. Some of us, we want to do that. But for
Right.
those of us out here in the workplace, you know, we want to make sure that all of us are living our best lives. You know why? We deserve it. We
Absolutely.
deserve in that physical location to see women, you know, sit around the table and we're just vulnerable. We open
It's
up.
a beautiful thing, and that's where all the healing starts. It is so uncomfortable, but that's where it all starts.
But you know what? If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
That's
It's in those
true.
complacent places that stifles our growth, stifles
Exactly.
our healing. And I'm here to help women know that you don't have to be depressed. And you know, when you
Right.
want to cry, let's cry. Let's get this box of tissue. Let's cry together. You. I'm gonna love on you. But you know what? At some point, sister, we're gonna stop those tears. We're gonna turn those frowns into smiles, and you're gonna be more confident than you ever been in your life because you know that you are better than what happened to you. You are
Yeah.
not your past. And
Absolutely.
be damned if I don't continue this work. I made a vow with God. I made a vow with him. You
And
know,
we
I
are
made a
so thankful.
yes, yes, thank you. It's so fulfilling to me. You just don't, ooh, get goosebumps.
Absolutely. And I mean, honestly, when I was told what the statistic was, it was staggering. 1 in 4, you guys. And I gotta say, for us in Asia, it's not something we talk about, and we're not allowed to. And we have so many people in and out of our lives all the time. We have big communities. We are expected to call everyone as if they're relatives of ours. And it's hard when it's someone that close to you. So I get it, and I can't wait till, we get to a place as an Asian culture where we can say what needs to be said and stop this madness because there is no justifying it. I don't see any way that it can ever be justified.
Yeah, there is no justification. None. Zero. It's inexcusable. It happened to you. You're not reoffending. It happened to
No.
me. I'm not reoffending. But what we're doing is taking the negative action, that negative past, and we're turning it into a positive future for ourselves and for other women.
Absolutely.
And we're doing good work, Pika. We're really
You are
doing good.
doing amazing work. I can't talk about it enough. So I want y'all to realize, okay, you want access to more of what Dawn has to talk about, what Dawn has to teach? Come join us. It is free, okay? It's late in April. It's for 3 days straight. And Miss Dawn here is actually going to give her heart some more and teach us a little bit more so that we can all stand in our truth and all be proud of who we are, no matter what we've lived through, okay? Sexual abuse will not control us.
Oh,
Okay?
no.
It's done. We're going to
Yes.
get past all of this, but we're going to
A-
get past it with each other's help.
Yes.
You need someone
And
to turn to sometimes.
yes. And it's so important that we understand as business women that if we don't deal with our past, it tends to come out in business as well.
Uh-huh. It tends to
It
turn up until you deal with it.
yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And we don't want that to happen to you at
No.
the wrong time when you have a trigger. You're sitting in a boardroom and your trigger walks in the door. How do you handle
Yeah.
that?
Exactly.
What do you do? How do you maintain your poise and your posture and act as though that trigger is not there? What do
Yeah.
you do? You know, what do you do when, you know, someone wants to do business with you, and let's just say they support the offenders, and you're a victim or you're a survivor. What do? Do you turn away that money? What do you do? So if you don't deal with your past, you'll have some difficulties in business. I can guarantee you
You
that.
have some tough decisions, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
this summit is so amazing. And, I thank each and every one of you all for your support. I mean, you guys are helping me raise awareness and educate people about what sexual assault does to women. And we just need to keep forging forward because it's important, not just to our current generation, but future generations. It's so important
Absolutely.
that we keep this work going. And the work that you all are doing with this summit and the monies that are going to be donated to the organization will
We're so
allow
proud of that.
to move this movement forward. Yes, so
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
I thank you. And Miss August, oh my gosh.
Yes, ma'am. If she hadn't
Uh,
introduced all of us, my goodness.
uh, uh.
So big shout out to August for organizing all of this, for bringing together this amazing tribe of women. And the way we interact with each other outside of all of these, these back of the house things that we have to put together, the GIF wars, the conversations, the little itty bitty trainings throughout our Facebook groups. I feel
Yes,
lighter because of your group.
yes,
I feel
yes.
lighter because I know I'm not the only one. I feel lighter because I share so much with all of you, and I'm not from the same culture. I'm not from the same background. I'm not from the same country, and I could care less. I could still stand with you guys, and I feel good about that.
Sending air hugs and kisses your
Yeah,
way
man.
across the
Absolutely.
deep blue sea. You know
Yes,
what?
ma'am.
You know what, Pika? I am of the mindset that it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you do, you deserve love. And because I have love to give, baby, I'm giving it to you. I'm giving it to you.
Absolutely.
I love air
Absolutely.
hugs and air kisses. You know what? It makes me feel good too. It really does. Just to know that a woman wants to experience being loved, being cared for, having someone being honest with them, and someone who's real and raw. And you know what? That's just what I get from August. That girl, she
Yes,
just
ma'am. Real,
I
raw, and relentless, definitely.
yes, I I truly believe she understands who she
Yes, ma'am.
really is. But then there's some more stuff that I don't think she has really conceptualized how much she affects us women. I
She's
mean, that
starting to see it.
how she is a powerhouse.
The signs keep popping up for her. She knows it. With the XOXO over there. You know it.
I told my husband when I mentioned her name August, he kept saying, "Who is this August?" And I looked at him like, "Dude, I done told you about her." I started to
Yeah.
get offended. How come you don't remember her name? So I really, she's really a huge part of my life. This woman saw something in Dawn and is investing her time, her efforts, and her energies. And you know what? She's blowing. She's looking and she's blowing, and that the air that she's blowing is putting some wind beneath my wings, and it's helping elevate me mentally. She's raising awareness in my heart, in my mind, and helping me take my Sisters Keepers of Atlanta to another level. And I mean, I was on a conference call with her last week, and she had me in tears. I mean, literally,
Uh-huh.
because she painted this vision and this picture. And I'm telling you, she's in tune with the creator,
Yes,
because
ma'am, she is.
she mentioned something to me one time, and I was like, shh, don't say that. Don't give away the secret. Don't give away. So, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I mean, that woman is a powerhouse,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
she deserves everything that God has for her, plus some. And, the fact that she's so not a selfish person. She's
No,
very,
she gives a lot
yeah,
away.
Yeah. Yes. So God bless her soul.
Yes, ma'am. And you too, because all that love you gave out, it's coming back to you. August found it. She's bringing it back. So I
Good.
appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for taking time. I hope you have a blessed Monday. I will talk to you again soon. You guys, go back and watch the rest of this. It's going to be up here for 24 hours. You know me. I'm going to post it on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube. Thank you so much, Dawn. Follow my sister's keepers, okay? And keep everyone safe as much as you can. I feel like if you find out somebody's in pain, it's your responsibility to do something about it. Help those people. Okay? It's your responsibility. If somebody has the guts to say, hey, this hurts, you
Mm-hmm.
have a responsibility to make sure that they're okay. Okay?
Absolutely.
You are your
Absolutely.
sister's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. We
Yes.
are our sister's keepers. And that goes
Yes.
for men too. Take care of each other. That's the only
Yes.
way this world goes round.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay?
God bless you, Pika.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Mom. I'll talk to
Thank
you soon.
you.
Thank you
Okay.
guys. Good
All
night.
right. Love you guys.